die.
You're the most cold-blooded man I've ever seen.
Tommy Boyds.
Morning, cabin doors to Manuel. Two things. One, I'd like to give you £1,100 sometime between now and 4 o'clock. That's in Where Am I? But two, I'd like to save or certainly elongate your life. It might sound a little alarmist, but bear with me. Free call 0500 1053 89. How are you today? How have you been recently? Are you, like an awful lot of people, experiencing some lack of energy, some lethargy, aching joints? Do you feel heavy-limbed and heavy-lidded? Is there an element of forgetfulness? Nothing that leaps out at you as being necessarily, a pre-senile dementia in the making, but have you noticed that perhaps you're more often than usual walking into a room and wondering why you did? Or possibly getting down the high street and buying lots of things except the thing you went out to buy? Free call 0500 1053 89. It seems from research which they've swept across America that such symptoms are alarmingly on the increase. However, all is not lost, because Dr. Carl Hochhuth, who's drawn the research together and is writing in the Current Scientific American in a piece, Feline Entropy and PSD, points out we can repair the damage. It's a long way from far too late if you're prepared to do what's necessary. Are you feeling tired? Do you find yourself yet waking early, or perhaps in the middle of the night, even though you are feeling tired? Free call 0500 1053 89. Do you find yourself perhaps risking getting the proper nutrition because you recently have found that you can't be bothered to cook proper meals? Do you notice that it can be 3 days since you actually sat down and ate a proper plate of hot food? It's all tin soup for lunch and sandwiches? Free call 0500 1053 89. And those aching joints which aren't so aching that they need to be strapped, but they just don't seem to be as pain-free as normal, or as you'd like. And white spots on the fingernail, which I understand can be a telltale sign. Only one or two, but often on the third finger, the ring finger of either hand. White spots on the fingernail, dry-ish skin, not scaling skin, not even flaking skin, but dry skin, white skin, skin which when you scratch it you can see a residue flying off. Free call 0500 1053 89. Are people saying to you, have you noticed, pardon, after you've said something, almost as though, I don't know, the lips aren't working as well as they might? Free call 0500 1053 89. Is your breath not quite what you'd want it to be? And a good way of finding out if your breath has an odour is to lick the back of your hand and then to check with a sniff. And premature ejaculation. Free call 0500 1053 89. Dr. Carl Hochhuth, writing in the Current Scientific American, Feline Entropy and PSD is the piece, has put together two important pieces of information. One, that such symptoms are prevalent amongst people living in several Western countries. And two, that certain countries, the population of certain countries, don't display these symptoms at all. And it means that he's come up with a very interesting prognosis. He is unclear on the progression or the transmission of what may turn out to be a currently unnamed and not yet sufficiently identified illness or set of symptoms, but he links these symptoms to the ownership of cats. Free call 0500 1053 89. Cats. He's not sure whether it could be that some owners are exposed to cat's waste products around the house or in the garden, and whether there could be a problem with that. He is not sure whether it could be that some people who own cats, in all innocence, wash the fork that they've used for the cat food in the same bowl of washing up water as the family's cutlery, and whether there could be a problem there. Or whether perhaps some people actually wash the bowl that the cat has eaten its food from, again in the same dishwater that they use for other washing up, and whether there could be a problem there. He's not sure whether it could be something that lives on or in the cat. He isn't even sure whether it could be the kind of proximity between cat and human being, which is usually designated by the cat purring, okay, but not caused by the cat purring, that could be the problem. Free call 0500 1053 89. The research only touches on UK incidents of these symptoms and cat ownership in one small regard in the piece. 3/4 of the way through, he points out that there are more cats in Scotland per head of the population than in England, and there are more cases of pre-PSD, which is pre-senile dementia, in Scotland than there are in England. Now, this is not without hope, this revelation. Free call 0500 10 53 89, because Hockhoof points out that in countries where cat is eaten, the incidence of PSD is virtually unknown, and these symptoms are rare, if not non-existent. And it leads him to the possible conclusion, and it's tentative stuff, but the possible conclusion that the consumption of cat could have could represent a quasi-homeopathic remedy for the problem. As one is surely fully aware, in Britain today, the progression of homeopathic cures works as follows. One is given a dose of a stimulant, a chemical, or a naturally occurring substance which mimics the effects of the difficulty or illness or source of pain or anxiety which is felt by the patient, in order to encourage the system to develop a natural immunity to that problem. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There is a good argument for listening.
Where am I as
Tommy Boyd.
You know, I don't want to bring this up, but you've been treating a lot of people with a lot of disrespect.
Enid is our first caller on this part of the programme. Enid in Hertfordshire, you're on Talk Radio.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Tommy.
Hello.
Oh, gosh, I'm scared now. I have got some of those blooming symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
I really have.
Do you have a cat?
Yes, I do.
How long have you had your cat?
Well, my last cat, he died in June, and he was 16.
Mm.
And now I have another little cat.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do love cats very much. And I've always had a cat.
Mm.
Once I had 3.
Mm.
Now, lethargic, yes, I am, Tommy. I have to be honest. I do get lethargic.
Forgetfulness?
Not too bad, but I do that thing you mentioned. I do go to get something and think, uh-oh, what did I come in here for? You know, I haven't got the breath thing or the white spots on my nails. I haven't got those. But I do go down the town and I think, oh, gosh, now, what was that I was going to get? Oh, heck. And it takes me ages to remember what I went down for, you know.
Yes.
Now, I don't know whether this is just coincidence or whether there is really something in this theory, you know. But most definitely, I must admit, I've always had cats. And I do have some of these symptoms that you mentioned.
If it were to be established that you were experiencing some physiological and psychological decline, which can be connected to the ownership of a cat, which presumably spends a lot of its time indoors.
Oh, yes, all my cats have, yes.
Would you be prepared, if such a preparation were available, to take cat pills in order to remedy these symptoms?
Cat pills?
Yes.
You're not winding me up, are you?
No. Would you be prepared to take a pill which was made from cat? Because we don't think it's likely that anybody in England will be prepared to actually eat cat on a plate.
I don't think I'd care to eat it in pill form either.
You wouldn't even... No, well, even if it turned out that your cat was responsible for these symptoms through no fault of its own, and that the only remedy was a homeopathic one.
Well, I think it would have to be something that had been on a drugs trial or something, you know.
So you wouldn't eat a cat pill unless it had been properly trialled?
Oh, no.
But you wouldn't have any moral difficulties with the concept?
Well, not if it had been on a drugs trial for 10 years, no.
All right, so as long as the drug had been tried... Well, it's not really a drug, it's just you know, like...
No, I wouldn't take anything like that.
Well, all they would do would be to presumably reduce the cat meat down to a dried form and compress it into a pill.
doesn't appeal to me at all.
Well, it's not suggesting it as something that you're going to enjoy. It's your health that we're concerned about.
But, I mean, it just seemed rather a coincidence that, you know, you mentioned those symptoms, and I thought, good heavens, he's talking about me, you know. So I had to come on and just say that I do have some of these symptoms, and I do keep cats.
But in order to rediscover your health, and it came down to one or the other, how would you prefer your cat? As a food product or as a pill?
Well, I suppose if it came down to the nitty-gritty, you'd say a pill, wouldn't you?
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Enid, for your call. Free call, 0500 1053 89. Robert is next, calling from North London. Robert, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Robert.
Yes, the trouble is with this research, I mean, you listed loads of symptoms, which, you know, could be a result of lots of different illnesses. So it may not be very good research. I don't know. I haven't read it.
No.
And if it were anything in it, we wouldn't be eating cats. They could isolate genes or something related to the cat, which would possibly be the basis of the virus, or antivirus vaccine.
Those things are possible?
Yep.
Well, why don't you get on and do it then?
Because I'm not a scientist.
Yeah, well, that's clear from what you've just said.
I don't think so.
It was a load of old waffle, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so.
You're not prepared to stare the facts in the face, my young man.
What facts? In what face?
The fact that there are more cats in Scotland per head of the population than there are England, and there are more cases of PSD. That's a fact.
Well, what is PSD? I mean, is that a recognized syndrome?
Pre-senile dementia.
No, that comes from all. That could be lots of things. That could be the water. It could be anything.
Yes. And people are looking for those reasons. And one of the things that they have noticed is that there can be a link between cat ownership and PSD.
It may be a spurious link.
Well, of course it may be a spurious link, but you want to know what research has shown, don't you?
Yes, but we don't then leap to talk about eating cats. That's very silly talk.
But, excuse me, there are a lot of people in this country who swear by homeopathy. The Queen is one.
Well, a lot of people don't swear by it.
But what are you going to do then if your cat's making you gaga?
Well, I'm not. I mean, I've got cats and I'm as fit as a fiddle.
Yeah, but who's to say that you're not gaga?
Well, I know older women who do cat protection league work, and they are as fit as a fiddle.
Well, you sound a little bit bonkers to me.
Well, you sound a little bit bonkers to me.
Well, I've got a cat.
Well.
There.
Well, it doesn't prove anything.
Well, no, but it tends to suggest, doesn't it, that you're wrong and I'm right?
No, it doesn't.
Yes?
Not at all.
So, what have you got a cat for?
Because I like them.
That's bonkers too, isn't it?
No.
Yes?
Makes perfect sense to me. I like them.
Would you really risk your life in order to carry on this one-way traffic of affection between the cat and you?
Yes, I would.
Well, you are bonkers then, aren't you?
No.
You'd actually risk your life?
Well, it's a fellow creature.
Rather than have your cat put down?
No, it's a fellow creature.
It's a fellow creature. So are head lice.
Yeah, I know.
Well, would you get rid of them?
Well, that's silly.
Answer the question.
Well, yes, I probably would if they got in my way, yes.
Oh, I see. So what is it, a size matter, or...
It's a sentient creature that I know and love.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, if a head lice was 3 foot long, you'd probably get used to it.
No, I don't think so.
Well, you say you don't think so, but you've never thought about it.
I don't think it's too silly to think about.
I don't think you think very much.
Oh, I think a lot more than you.
I don't think so. Free call 0500 1053 89. Edna calls from Hampshire, and we'll speak to Edna in just a moment. Edna, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello.
Yes, I'm waiting.
I just wanted to pause before I talked to you.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
What's that for, then?
Silence is quite powerful on the radio.
Silence is golden. And I'll tell you what, you're not a golden boy. You're coming on the radio insinuating people that have got cats got senile dementia is a load of old rubbish.
No, I didn't suggest that at all.
Yes, you did.
No, it was the other way round for a start, Edna.
What?
I suggested that it could be that there could be a link between some symptoms...
Well, I've got 2 cats and I'm not senile.
...can be associated with pre-senile dementias and
I
cats.
think you've got a blooming cheek coming on the radio doing all that.
It's not new. The idea's been around for many years.
Well, where'd you get it from?
A scientific paper.
What's the paper called?
Feline entropy and PSD.
Oh, right.
Is that better now?
No, it's not better because there's a load of old bollocks.
Oh, language, Timothy. Now, listen to me. If it turned out that you were a bit Margaret Rutherford...
I beg your pardon?
If it turned out that you were a bit Dotty... And
well, I'm not, I'm sane.
And your cat...
I've got me marbles.
And your cat was responsible, right? Would you have a cat sandwich if it meant that you'd get your marbles back?
No, I don't understand.
It's homeopathy.
What's that then?
Homeopathy. Free call 0500 1053 89. Paul is on the line from Coventry. Paul, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Hi, I was just trying to compose myself after last call. I've got all these symptoms, Tommy, and yet I've never kept a cat.
Interesting. Do you have neighbours?
Not with cats.
No cat in the vicinity at all?
Not particularly,
How long have you lived in your present home?
This one at the moment, only a few months.
Ah.
Previous to that, though, no particularly severe contact with cats. Okay, yeah, a friend of mine, his parents used to keep a cat, but that's about it.
Well, again, it's early days on this work. There is a possibility that the people who lived in the accommodation before you had a cat.
True.
But of course, that's only a possibility.
I mean, I've had these white spots on the nails for quite some time, though.
You've had white spots on the nails for quite some time. And dry skin, particularly the shins.
Well, I haven't particularly noted the moisture of the skin around the shin recently.
Well, have a look at the shin area, because
let me look.
Prevalent to dryness, if this condition is present.
It's not desperately dry, I must say. It's sort of normal.
A tendency to mumble, bad breath?
You do tend to mumble a bit, and the breath could be better.
Okay. So you're saying that you've got it, but it's
Probably.
It's a mystery to you how?
Yeah, I can't see a link with cats.
What animals do you have?
Dogs.
What sort of a dog?
At the moment, German Shepherd.
Well, I think this is probably just more grist to the researcher's mill, really, Paul.
I mean, it could be a pet thing. It might not necessarily be linked entirely with cats.
Have you ever taken a homeopathic remedy for anything?
Yes, yeah. The first time I had hay fever, I attempted homeopathic remedies for that.
Was it successful?
About as useful as a chocolate teapot.
Right. So, with your set of experiences, if it were shown that your pet may be in some way responsible for your symptoms, you wouldn't take a preparation that was based on extract of German Shepherd, for example?
Well, I mean, if it became socially acceptable eat your pets due to the fact that it was a medical reason for it, I would have no particular qualms for it, being a pragmatic person.
Still, it's something else to worry about, isn't it?
Well, certainly you can just laugh and say, what the hey, and try not to worry about it, and you'll probably live a lot longer that way.
Well, I've got to tell you that my experience as a journalist of some 25 years, Paul, is that people do like to have something new to worry about.
I know it, and you provide at least 6 a week.
I'm only doing what people want.
Oh, absolutely, I wouldn't deny that.
It's my duty. More than my job, it's my duty.
100%. I mean, my dear old grandma, rest her soul, she was never happy unless she was moaning about something.
Exactly. Paul, thank you for your call. Free call 0500 10 53 89. If you've just arrived at the radio, the question is this. It comes from some research that's published in Scientific American, a piece, Feline Entropy and PSD, by Dr. Carl Hochhuth. It asks whether you have noticed any or all of the following symptoms in yourself: a certain forgetfulness which is quite recent or appears to be, a tiredness, a lethargy, in spite of a tendency to wake a little earlier than usual and to often find yourself pop wide awake in the middle of the night, a tendency to allow your usually carefully prepared nutritional program to decline. You can't cook proper meals. It's tinned soup for lunch, and 3 days since you had a proper meal. Sandwiches and crisps will do. Aching joints, white spots on the fingernails, particularly the third finger on either hand, the ring finger. Dry skin, particularly around the shin area. Tendency to mumble. Bad breath, premature ejaculation. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Hochhuth has linked these symptoms with cat ownership, and at the same time gone further and pointed out that in countries where cat is eaten, these symptoms rarely, if ever, occur, causing speculation that the consumption of cat could in some way be a naturally occurring homeopathic remedy for a set of illnesses which do have some relation to some of the conditions which precede senile dementias. Gary calls from the Wirral. Gary, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Tommy.
Gary.
Hi, Tommy.
So.
Just a quick thought. I don't think the eating of cats probably protects people. I think it's more likely, don't you, that the fact in countries where they eat cats, they don't keep them as pets. And that would explain the absence of these symptoms. Yeah?
It's a good point. The cats are around.
Yeah.
But they're not in the huts.
That's right. And therefore people won't get the symptoms.
Gary, thank you for your contribution. Herbert is next. Herbert calls from Nottingham. Herbert, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Sir.
I've got all the symptoms that you've been detailing on the radio this afternoon, and more besides. I've flu up to 6 months ago. I'm getting better now.
I see.
But for 18 months I've been quite ill and been to the doctor several times, and they have told me it was Asian virus, and they didn't know much about it, and they hadn't got any treatment for it. But I got to the stage where I couldn't go out on my own because I was falling over. And now, at the present time, although I'm very much better now, I'm very often fog-bound and completely de-energised and just wander about the house and just don't bother with proper meals.
Do you have cats?
I've always had cats. I've got 2 lovely cats now, and they've got a bed each in the house, and this has been my regular routine for the last 40 years at least.
What age are you now, Herbert?
Pardon?
What age would you be now?
81.
81?
Yeah.
Well, it could well be that there might be some relationship between your ownership of cats and what you see as a decline in certain specific areas. Or, Herbert, it could be that for 81, you're actually doing rather well.
I am doing very well.
Yes.
Because I do, until this illness came on me, I used to do quite a lot of walking.
Yes.
Serious walking, 10 or 15 miles a day or
but you don't think it might just be a case of, well, we're none of us getting any younger?
Oh, no, I am very much downhill, and my friends tell me so. I was on the committee of the local Cats Protection League and had to pack it up because they said, oh, well, you are becoming very completely fog-bound and lost for words, and your memory's gone and your eyesight's gone and your hearing's gone, and now it's gradually coming back, but I'm nothing like I was 12 months ago.
Well, on a purely personal note, Herbert, all I would say is that if I'm half as good as you when I'm 80, never mind about 81, then I'll be... I'm much fitter than the majority of the old people. Yes.
Around this area.
And as a consequence, I would not recommend that you ate your cats.
I wasn't thinking of eating either of them today.
No, don't. Because your particular set of circumstances could have so many different root causes besides cat ownership.
And you don't think that it would be a good idea for me to bother about eating cat pills or anything like this?
I don't know.
No. Righto, very good. I will take your word for it.
Thank you, Herbert.
And I was going to say if I get any worse, I'll ring you, but I must sort of forget that, wouldn't I?
You would, yes.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Bless you.
Stay well, Herbert.
Very good.
Very good.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. The grand gentleman. Margaret is on the line now from Dorset. You're on Talk Radio, Margaret. Good afternoon.
Tommy.
Hello.
I just wanted to make a point about homeopathy.
Yes.
They don't actually take a substance and compress it down.
No.
They take an extract of it,
Yes.
they shake it up,
Yes.
and they dilute it again and again until there's really nothing left of the substance. They just believe it's the energy of the substance.
So you could do this with a cat, couldn't you?
Well, I've got a problem with this because I'm a vegan.
Ah.
And I also keep cats. I've kept cats all my life. I've got a couple of those symptoms, but they can be caused by many things. I mean, we're living a stressful life.
Being a vegan could cause a lot of those symptoms.
Not really. It's a very healthy life, I think.
No, but being a vegan could make you feel a bit lethargic.
Well, we could argue about that, but
No, you can't argue about what I said, because what I said was being a vegan could cause some of those symptoms, and you don't know enough to say no, it definitely couldn't. I didn't say it does. I said
I've
it could.
been a vegan for long enough to know what causes most of the symptoms.
No, we're talking about the English language now. What I said,
Okay.
you have to agree with what I just said, because I said being a vegan could cause some of those symptoms.
Well, being a carnivore could cause some of those symptoms.
And no argument.
Okay.
You lot are so defensive, aren't you?
No.
Yes, you are.
But I just wanted to say that about this problem, I suppose, if it gets very fashionable,
Yes.
it sounds like it's going to get fashionable, doesn't it?
Yes.
People are going to... will they have to kill cats for it, or will they just extract...
No, I don't think so. I
blood
think they could probably take a sample of the cat.
That's right, blood or
or possibly a piece of tissue.
Yes.
As you know, when they took a sample of Bill Clinton's DNA to find out what it was down the front of Monica Lewinsky's dress, they took a nick of his tongue. Was
they
it
didn't test his cat at the time, did they? Anything to do with that.
No, he hasn't got a cat, has he? He's got a dog.
Oh, well.
A Weimaraner called Bobby.
Well, I think you're very right, though.
Yes.
We seem to need something new to worry about, don't we? If we haven't got anything new to... My mother used to say, if I didn't have something to worry about, I'd die.
We haven't had anything new since HIV.
That's right.
There was that lovely flesh-eating bacteria, but that went away.
And, well, the aliens will be landing soon, and we'll have them to worry about.
Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease never really took off.
No,
it
wasn't fashionable enough. It wasn't sexy enough, was it?
No. And it only seemed to happen in Kent.
It will be something. It won't be called cat. It will be called feline.
Feline entropy. It's called.
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, that's the word he's used for it. Entropy is a very good word.
Marvellous. Yes. It sounds very medical. It sounds in, doesn't it?
Well, it's more sociological than medical, actually. Entropy occurs if a disturbance occurs in nature, which then triggers other disturbances in the vicinity, which then go on to trigger other disturbances.
I think a lot of our problems these days can be put down to stress. We've got so much stress in our lives.
Not enough stress.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, I think most people would disagree with you.
Well,
I'll come and stress you if you like. I'll give you a bit more stress.
I think people walk well, that's probably because you're a vegan. People walk towards the sound of stress. They don't walk away from it. If you're in a pub and two people are having an argument, you incline your ear towards them. Stress is the resonance, the vibration of the universe. It's magnificent.
I'm not too worried
life
about
itself.
I must admit, I'm not worried about other people's arguments if they don't affect me. It's only stress, I find, is what affects me in my life. It's usually caused by other people, I must admit.
Understood. Thank you very much indeed for your call. I'm very grateful. Free call 0500 10 53 89. There's still time for you to register to take part in Where Am I with 1-to-1, the national network for free national calls. There's £1,100 in the prize fund, and it could be yours if you can identify which town or city, which has been laid out in the Current Scientific American by Dr. Carl Hochhuth, who asks readers whether they're suffering from any or all of the following symptoms: a slight forgetfulness, a tendency to wake early or in the middle of the night, whilst at the same time feeling tired and lethargic during the day, a slight loss of appetite or a tendency towards preferring convenience meals, aching joints, although nothing you'd actually take to your doctor, white spots on the fingernails, a furring of the teeth, some dry skin, a tendency to mumble, poor breath, premature ejaculation. And he goes on to ask whether, if you have those symptoms, you are also a cat owner. He points out that in countries where cat is eaten, these symptoms are rare, if not unheard of, and ends by postulating perhaps it could be that unknown to them, in countries where cat is a delicacy, they are effectively what is a homeopathic cure for a disease which is yet to be named and fully understood. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Andy calls from Hastings. Andy, you're on Talk Radio.
Hi, Tommy.
Andy.
Yeah, I've got bundles of those symptoms and I've got a cat.
Voila.
I didn't realise it. Recently, I mean, I do tend to buy only convenience foods.
Yes.
I'm actually sitting outside McDonald's at the moment.
Yes. Did you eat proper meals before you had a cat?
Yes, I did. And, I mean, in the early days when I had the cat, I still eat, I suppose they're proper meals. I mean, I eat well, but I tend to buy stuff in the packet I can just whack in the oven and take it out 20 minutes later, you know.
And do you find yourself more often than not saying to friends when you're in the middle of a conversation, oh, and what was his name again? Hang on a second, I'll remember. Yes?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Yeah. Starting sentences without quite knowing how they're going to end.
Yep, all that.
Okay. Now, if it is linked to your ownership of a cat, Andy.
Yep.
Would you take a prescription? Would you take a pill, in pill form, or possibly an ointment if it became available, essence of cat, by way of a homeopathic cure?
I think I probably would, yes.
You would, provided presumably that the cats which were provided for the cure were caught and treated abroad.
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to know that there was no harm coming to the cat.
As long as there was no cruelty to the cats, you would take essence of cat or rub in cat ointment.
I think I probably would, yes.
Okay. Thanks for your call. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Keith calls from Reigate. Keith, you're on Talk Radio. Hello.
What a great idea. How about having a lot of us, well, people who don't like cats, eat as many cats as we like, then you can use our blood and inoculate all the people who have that disease.
I'm not an expert on homeopathy. I don't know if it would work. On the other hand, it sounds as though it would give you a great deal of pleasure, so what the heck?
Well, that's the main thing, isn't it?
I suppose.
All the dicky birds that will be flying around because we do such a thing.
Yes, true enough. I'm going to bring Tony into the conversation, who I understand agrees with you 100%. Tony in Hastings, you're through. Keith in Reigate is with us, and I understand that we have a meeting of minds here.
No, it's Tony from Southampton.
Tony from Southampton, hi.
Right. I think we should eat the flesh of cats. They're vermin. I've got cats myself. They're flea-lined. They put fleas everywhere. They're gross.
And you get a sideline, you have lots of gloves and woolly socks for the old people.
Well, what about the minx that's been let out of Southampton at the moment? Ringwood.
Oh, yes.
We could have minx sauce.
Gentlemen, can we keep serious? This is news and current affairs debate programme, and we're discussing what could be the latest scare from the world of health.
Well, if we didn't have cats, we wouldn't have the problem.
No,
exactly. Yeah.
Eat them.
Why do we have them? Why on earth do we bring these animals into our homes?
To start with, you're sad and lonely.
Do you know you have a cat, you feed it, the first thing it does, it goes out and kills a bird.
Yes. That's right.
And rats.
Yeah, but they don't eat them. They bring a headless mouse into the kitchen.
And they say, oh, look, they bought me a present.
I know. And then, sometimes they bring a live one in.
Exactly.
And they do little presents around the house.
Oh, boy, and does that stuff hum.
Doesn't it?
You
meet a girl. You're young. You're hopeful. You meet a girl. She's great. You go out together 2 or 3 times, and in the end, she says, would you like to come back to my flat? And you do. And you get in through the door, and you inhale, and what?
Or she gets covered in flea bites.
And then, yes. And then she says to you, I hope you don't mind. I've got 3 cats. And you think, out of this one.
Or after they've been in their litter tray, they leave dirty footprints all over your sides.
Yes.
And then they lick their paws, and then they lick you, and they say, oh, look, he's licking you.
And dogs do that as well.
It's one way of telling an effete bloke.
Pardon?
If a bloke's a bit camp, then he'll like cats. And women. But real men don't like cats.
Well, I couldn't eat a whole one.
I often say to ours, you know, if you don't behave yourself, I'll make a hat out of you. Because I think they make good hats. Did you ever see Davy Crockett?
Yes.
Cat.
Yes. Look at the old people, all the heat they could save on their heating bill by putting a cat on
by putting a cat hat on. Yeah.
Oh, well, I've got to go. Get earn some money. See you, Tommy.
Bye-bye. I don't know. So blokey, isn't it, to make fun out of what could be a very serious situation in the making. It might sound alarmist to you, in which case you're enjoying it, because research and a lifetime's experience, myself alone, will vouch for this. People do enjoy being alarmed and having something new to worry about, and we just haven't had any new diseases now for a long, long time. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Perhaps this is it. Feline entropy. Let's give it some initials, and then it's a proper disease. F.E. But would you eat cat if that was the only cure? I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Who's the target?
In a moment. There's still time for you to register to take part in Where Am I with 1-to-1, the national network for free national calls. There's £1,100 in the prize fund. That could be yours if you can identify which town or city our 1-to-1 caller's making his free national call from. His latest clue is the main pool at the spa baths here is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Where am I? The Where Am I competition hotline number is 0894 222 333, and the call will cost you 25 pence. We don't need your answer, just your name and number. And I could be talking to you and giving you £1,100 just before 4 o'clock. Pam is our next caller on Feline Entropy. Pam, in Birmingham, you're on Talk Radio. Hello.
Hello, Tommy. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Keeping away from cats?
Showing none of the symptoms of FE.
No, I know, neither do I, and I've got 20. Now, I really think that professor who wrote that article is just trying to think of something new to get attention. You know, everybody thinks they're all thinking up these new diseases. If you eat cheese or tomatoes or sugar, and then that brings something else on, doesn't it?
That's because people like you, like to have new things to worry about.
I don't.
You do?
I've had enough to worry about the past 2 years.
What's that then?
Well, I had a very bad spinal trouble. I was really ill for 2 years. I'm getting better now.
That was definitely nothing to do with your cat.
No, definitely not. It was because I lost weight with being diabetic, and that slaps your nerves around in the back. So they trap a nerve, it gets trapped, which is exceedingly painful, as you know. And it really has taken me 2 years to get better. Now, I did have slight loss of memory, etc., but that was caused because the pain before had made my mind so blank. I had to blank everything out.
So you're completely on top of the game?
Yes, I'm not bother.
A balanced, all-thinking individual.
I try to be.
And you've got 20 cats.
I have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little cat sanctuary, but they've never given me any problem.
No.
They don't lick me or anything like that, but they're very clean cats.
But you've got 20 of them?
Yes. I comb them regularly.
Yes?
And they're very clean. I have no problem. I mean, you might say people with dogs have problems, which I suppose you will now.
I would if anybody had 20 dogs.
Only unless you had room for them.
Yes.
But my cat's got their own room.
So you've got 20 cats in one room?
No. They spread around in the garden and the sheds and things like that.
Yes?
They're quite independent creatures.
Yes.
In fact, they've got more intelligent than a lot of people I could name.
Yes, indeed.
Don't you think? Have you got any animals, Tommy?
A cat, although not for long.
Oh, what are you going to do with it? Eat it? You donating it to science?
I would be happy to eat it.
Really?
Yes.
Why is this? Were you scratched by one as a youth?
No, I just think they're useless.
They're not.
Selfish.
They're cat rodents.
Unpleasant, dangerous creatures.
Oh, they're not.
They're untrainable. They offer no affection except on their own terms. And an awful lot of other animals have to die so that people can keep their cats.
Oh, rubbish.
Well, what do you feed yours on then?
On dry food. And sometimes a tin in between. I don't give them too much dry food. It's bad for their kidneys.
And what's in the tin, Poppet?
Oh, I expect it's a dead horse.
Yes.
Which would be decaying in the ground if it wasn't.
That's right. It would have died anyway, wouldn't it? It died of natural causes.
They found it. Get me going again.
They found it in a field, didn't they? Well, get your priorities right. Why should your cats live this life of metropolitan luxury?
Because they
some poor oh, it's for you, is it? And some poor horse has to be hauled up by its hooves and its throat cut and crammed into a tin so that your army of useless
help you with stress control.
Is that why you have them? So you're more important than horses and cats, really. It's all about you, isn't it?
Well, of course it is.
Why do you need 20, though?
With these work days you have. I think you're suffering from stress. Actually.
I love stress. You don't suffer from stress. You benefit from stress.
Sometimes you do.
No, this is wrong. This is a popular myth, and you've got nothing to go, and you're not a psychiatrist or a doctor. Stress is good for you.
Sometimes in small doses. I'll agree with you. It is. It gets your adrenaline moving.
Without stress, you're nothing. You're a cadaver.
Oh, well, perhaps a little bit.
You're a dead woman walking without stress, Pam.
Yes, I know you do need it. You need the adrenaline.
It's gorgeous. I love it.
It does get you going.
Fantastic.
It does. When are you going to get some adrenaline? Or have you had some?
No. Go on then, clear off.
Bye-bye.
Pre-call 0500 1053 89. A word with Leslie, who calls from Kent. You're on Talk Radio, Leslie. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tommy. I just would like to say that I believe the media and the medical world are making the nation a lot of hypochondriacs. I really do. If it's not one thing, it's another, and it's always putting the blame on something else, other than the fact that we have probably caused the problems with so-called advances in medical research.
But if they find a new disease, Leslie, it's no good they keep it themselves, put it in a filing cabinet and hope that nobody will look it up.
Oh, I know.
They've got to tell you.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but they're always scaremongering. They're scaremongering about
But you like to be scared.
No, not particularly.
You love being alarmed.
No.
You do. You love it when you pick up the paper and you find out that it's milk.
What's going to happen when we run out of animals and other things to blame?
Eggs.
Eggs.
Beef.
We've already had eggs. We've already had beef.
Organophosphates.
Yeah.
Sodium benzoate. A hole in the ozone layer.
Tommy?
Global warming. The rainforests, El Nino, air pollution, water quality, chemical germ terrorist attacks, and you lap it up. You love it.
Yeah.
You love it.
I've got lots of cats.
You love it.
I've got 4 cats. I love them. I prefer them to children. And stress causes cancer and coronary heart disease.
Feel better now you've alarmed more people? You old witch, you. You rotten old witch, you. You tried to make that sound like a spell, didn't you?
No, not at all. Not at all. I just thought, you said everyone loves stress, but it does. It makes you very cadaverous stressed
out. Oh, get thee gone, Hecate.
Bye-bye then.
Free call 0500 1053 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There is a good argument for listening. Just crack on a bit. George calls from Orpington. You're on Talk Radio, George.
Hello, yeah. Hello there.
Hello.
I just wondered about a kettle, yes. If it boils for about 30 seconds, hello?
Yes?
Oh, yeah, and it boils for about 30 seconds, yeah.
And the safety people reckon that when you have water and you've got to boil it safely for about 4 to 5 minutes, does your kettle really boil?
So many things, George. Who told you had to boil water for 4 minutes?
Well, no, I just wondered, it's sort of like, you know, like when you get, sort of like, you've got dirty water and you go to boil it up and you've got to make it safe for drinking.
Yes, when did this happen?
No, it's never happened to me, but
right, but it might. It might.
Actually, when I actually first got married years ago in '82, yeah, we had the water strike.
Yes.
And they did say then at the time that you've got to get water and you've got to boil it up and everything and
right.
I think it was about 4 minutes. Not quite sure. It's way back then.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. I don't remember them saying you had to boil the water for 4 minutes before it was any good.
Oh, right, no?
No, where did you hear that?
I'm sure I can remember that, yeah.
Where did you hear that?
The
4 minute bit.
So, it was years ago. But they reckon you've got to boil water up so long, and also you've got to put some tablets in it, like sterilising tablets or something in it to make it some, you know, drinkable.
And your worry is that modern electric kettles
electric kettles only boil for, what, 30 seconds? They go bubble, then they click, and that's it, and they go off. Is that really boiling?
Yes.
It is.
Water, I read once, water is at its hottest just before it boils.
Oh, right.
Because once it's boiled, it started steaming, and the steam helps to cool it down or something. That's what I read.
Right. Now, the reason I ask is my son, he's doing his cookery at school, and he's got a problem where he can't get hold of a kettle properly and that. And I asked his teacher, what can I do for safety? And she said, put his water in a cup in a microwave, boil it up. And I said, well, it don't boil, it don't bubble in the microwave, does it? So she said, but that don't matter. You know? So I just wondered about the boiling point, sort of like, you know, whether it bubbles,
Isn't
if
life
it's safe,
hard?
or if it doesn't bubble, is it safe, no?
First of all, you're told something that you need to... You're told something which causes you a worry. Then you're given the solution to the worry, but the solution only worries us as much as the thing that we know it is legitimate to worry about. Ah, well, George, never mind.
Right,
you're a long time dead. Len calls from London. Len, you're on Talk Radio. What?
Tommy.
Len.
That joke,
yes.
The horse in the bar with a long face.
Yes.
It comes from the film Hot Shot, Part 2.
Does it?
And because I've got a video shop, and I have films on all day, but I very rarely watch them because the TV's not facing me, it's facing outward. I just get to hear them. And I heard this, it was just playing, and somebody said to the girl, oh, you're joking. And she said, no, if I was joking, I'd say this. And she said it, and it took a second, and then it sunk in, you know, and I just fell about laughing. So I quickly whipped the telly round to hear it again.
Yes.
I heard it again. I was dying to tell somebody, so I phoned Carol, because Carol McGiffin was on. It was like in the evening when Talk Radio first started.
I see.
And she just cracked up.
Yes.
And since then, I hear it everywhere now.
Well, I was out, I used to ride racehorses. Okay?
Yeah.
And, the jockey I was with, professional jockey, well known, I won't mention his name, he's not daft, he just, you know, and he's got a perfectly good sense of humour. But anyway, he told me a horse racing joke, and I got it and I laughed. It wasn't very funny, but I roared with laughter, you see, which is polite, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're sitting on these two racehorses, right, him next to me. So he went, go on, have you got one? So I said, yes. A horse goes into a bar, and the barman says, why the long face? And there was a silence, and he looked at me and he went, yes, carry on. I said, no, that's it. And he went, right. No, sorry. I said, because horses have got long faces, you see. And he went, yes, got that bit. But, no, not with you.
I see, it's one of those jokes, isn't it? Because I found it hysterical.
It is.
But it just took a second for the penny to drop.
I'll tell you another one like that. It takes a second.
Yeah.
Two lions walking down Oxford Street, and one says, isn't it quiet?
Yeah. Another good one.
Yeah, that good. Thanks for your call, Len. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Stand by for Peter Dealey, Britain's fastest moving drive time. I look forward to talking with you from 2 tomorrow. Tommy Boyd, Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.